Welcome to our channel. Tonight we are talking about the sleep change after 65 that quietly turns small health problems into bigger ones. Most people think aging simply means needing less sleep. That is not the truth. In the next few minutes, you will learn why broken sleep may affect your heart, brain, blood sugar, balance, and memory, how to spot the hidden warning signs, and what steps may help protect your next decade of life. There is a dangerous misunderstanding hiding in millions of bedrooms. A person goes to bed at a reasonable hour, stays there for 7, 8, even 9 hours, and still wakes up tired, foggy, irritable, and weaker than they were the day before. So they assume the problem cannot be sleep. But that is exactly where the problem may be. Because after 65, the threat is often not simply sleeping less. The real threat is sleeping lighter, waking more often, losing deep sleep, and breaking the rhythm that allows the brain and body to repair. That is why someone can technically be in bed all night and still wake up biologically under-restored. And that is where the spiral begins. Maybe this sounds familiar. You fall asleep in the chair after dinner, drag yourself to bed, wake up at 1:40, then again at 3:10, then stare at the ceiling at 4:25, wondering why your mind suddenly feels wide awake. By morning, your body is heavy, your patience is thin, and your balance feels just a little off. One night like that feels annoying. 100 nights like that can quietly reshape health. And here is the part most people never hear from anyone. Your body does not judge sleep by hours alone. It judges sleep by depth, continuity, timing, and whether you moved through the stages of sleep that do the real work. So the question is not just, how long was I in bed? The better question is, did my body actually repair? Sleep is not a flat line. It is an active cycle. Your brain moves through lighter sleep, deeper non-REM sleep, and REM sleep again and again throughout the night. Deep sleep helps restore the body. REM helps with learning, emotional processing, and mental clarity. When those cycles keep getting interrupted, the night may look quiet from the outside, while the inside is losing something vital. But here's the shocking part. Many older adults believe they are exhausted because they are aging, when in reality they may feel old because their sleep has become fragmented. That is a completely different story. One suggests decline is unavoidable. The other suggests a hidden problem may still be found, understood, and improved. Let me give you a simple picture. Think of sleep as the night shift inside your body. Deep sleep is the repair crew. REM sleep is part memory lab, part emotional reset. And the steady rhythm between those stages is the schedule that keeps the whole operation moving. When the schedule keeps getting broken, the crew never fully finishes the job. That incomplete repair shows up in places most people do not connect to sleep. Blood pressure may run higher. Blood sugar may become harder to control. Hunger signals may feel more chaotic. Inflammation, that low, smoldering internal fire linked to many chronic diseases, may stay more active. And the next morning, you are left dealing with the consequences without realizing the night helped create them. Now stay with me, because this is where the story gets more important after 65. If you already live with diabetes, poor sleep may make your body less responsive to insulin, the hormone that helps move sugar out of the bloodstream and into cells. That means the exact same breakfast can hit you differently after a bad night. Same food, same medications, different biology. If you already live with high blood pressure or heart disease, broken sleep can steal one of the most important windows your body has for cardiovascular recovery. During healthy sleep, the heart and blood vessels get a chance to shift into a calmer state. But when sleep keeps getting fractured, the body may stay more alert, more stressed, more chemically activated than it should be. Night stops being repair time and becomes strain time. And if you are worried about memory, concentration, or that feeling that your mind is not as sharp as it used to be, sleep matters there too. A fragmented night can leave the brain less able to store, sort, and retrieve information the next day. Names slip away, focus weakens. Patience disappears faster. The tragedy is that many people blame themselves when the night before may be part of the reason. Wait for it, because the next consequence hits older adults especially hard. Poor sleep does not just create tiredness, it creates instability. Slower reaction time, more dizziness when getting out of bed, more irritability, less attention to where your feet are, and that means the sleep problem that started quietly in bed may end loudly on the floor. That is why this conversation is not really about comfort. It is about independence, the ability to drive safely, think clearly, manage medication correctly, remember appointments, climb stairs confidently, and move through the day with a steady body and a steady mind. Sleep is not a luxury at this stage of life. It is part of the equipment that keeps you functioning. Now let's correct one of the most stubborn myths in healthy aging. No, most older adults do not simply need less sleep. What often changes is the pattern of sleep, not the importance of sleep. People may get sleepy earlier, wake earlier, nap more easily, or spend more time in lighter sleep, but the body still needs real restoration. That shift in timing is driven partly by the circadian rhythm, your built-in body clock. As the years pass, that clock may drift earlier. You may feel sleepy when the evening news is still on and then find yourself fully awake before sunrise. Many people treat that as proof they are just becoming an early bird. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it is the first clue that sleep continuity is falling apart. And there is another layer. Melatonin helps signal darkness and bedtime. Adenosine builds up during the day and increases the pressure to sleep. Those systems still exist after 65, but they can be influenced by light exposure, activity, naps, medications, pain, alcohol, and irregular routines. So when someone says, "My sleep changed overnight," the truth is usually more complex than that. Here are the 3 hidden causes I want you to understand, and the third one surprises the most families. First is insomnia, which means trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or getting back to sleep after waking. Second is sleep apnea, where breathing repeatedly pauses or becomes restricted during sleep. Third is the cluster no one talks about enough: pain, medications, anxiety, depression, reflux, frequent urination, and restless legs quietly sabotaging the night. Let's start with insomnia, because this is where many people get trapped. They start dreading bedtime. Then they start watching the clock. Then every awakening feels like proof that something is wrong, which creates stress, which makes sleep even harder. It becomes a cycle of fear and fatigue that feeds itself night after night. And here is the dangerous shortcut. Many people try to solve that cycle by forcing unconsciousness. They look for anything that will knock them out. But sedation and restorative sleep are not identical. You can be quieter without being repaired. You can be less aware without actually cycling through the kind of sleep your brain and body need most. The truth is, some sleep medications may have a role for short periods under the right guidance, but they are not the same thing as fixing the reason sleep became broken. That is why so many older adults say, "I took something and I still woke up feeling off." Of course they did. The goal is not to erase consciousness. The goal is to restore sleep quality. But here's the shocking part most families miss. Some of the most dangerous sleep disruption after 65 is not insomnia at all. It is sleep apnea. A person may fall asleep quickly, think they are sleeping deeply, and still wake up exhausted because breathing keeps getting disrupted over and over throughout the night. They do not remember the interruptions. Their body does. Imagine a man in his 70s who says, "I sleep like a rock." His wife says something very different. She hears loud snoring, sudden choking sounds, long pauses, and then a dramatic gasp. He wakes with a dry mouth, a dull headache, and afternoon sleepiness he blames on age. But the real story is that his oxygen and sleep rhythm may be getting hammered all night. You do not have to snore to have a serious problem, but loud snoring, choking, gasping, and witnessed breathing pauses should never be waved away as harmless. Neither should falling asleep in front of the television every evening, needing a nap just to function, or feeling unrefreshed after a full night in bed. Those are clues, and clues matter. Now let's talk about the third group, the silent wrecking crew. Pain from arthritis can wake you every time you turn. Certain medications can make you jittery, sedated at the wrong time, or more likely to urinate at night. Anxiety can make your body tired, but your mind alert. Restless legs can create a maddening urge to move just when you want to settle. None of that is just aging. Remember when I mentioned that the body measures sleep by repair, not just hours? This is where that idea becomes powerful, because once you understand that, you stop asking the wrong question. You stop saying, "Why was I in bed for 8 hours and still feel terrible?" And you start asking, "What kept my body from doing its repair work?" Now we have to go deeper because the brain side of this story is where many people feel the most fear. Sleep helps with memory, it helps with attention. It helps the brain organize what matters and discard what does not. But newer research has made this even more fascinating. During sleep, the brain appears to increase certain cleanup activities that help clear away waste products built up during the day. Think of it like this. All day long, your brain is running, processing, firing, deciding, remembering, worrying, planning. That activity produces byproducts that need to be managed. Sleep is not just when the brain goes offline. It is also part of when the brain does its housekeeping. If that housekeeping keeps getting interrupted, the cost may not show up all at once. It may show up gradually. That does not mean one bad week of sleep causes dementia. It does not mean sleeping perfectly guarantees protection. And this is where I want to be careful and honest. But it does mean that poor sleep is tied to memory, daily function, mood, and brain health in ways that are too important to ignore. Broken sleep may not be the whole story, but it can absolutely be part of it. And then something else happens that almost no one expects. When sleep gets worse, mood often follows. People become more sensitive, more discouraged, more anxious, more emotionally reactive. Small frustrations feel bigger, motivation drops, social energy disappears. They start saying things like, "I just don't feel like myself anymore," without realizing the night may be stripping away their resilience. That is why the phrase, "I'm just tired," is sometimes far too small for what is actually happening. The truth is, broken sleep can make a person feel older, less hopeful, less steady, less sharp, and less strong than they really are. It can magnify the burden of conditions they are already carrying. And because it happens slowly, many people normalize it until it feels permanent. So let's make this practical. Here are the 5 mistakes I see seniors make again and again, and mistake number 5 is the one that keeps the problem alive for years. Mistake number 1 is chasing more time in bed instead of better sleep. Lying down earlier and staying in bed later may sound helpful, but if that time is restless, light, and broken, it can actually worsen the pattern. Mistake number 2 is stealing from nighttime without realizing it. Long late naps, caffeine in the afternoon, alcohol in the evening, heavy meals close to bedtime, and too much fluid late at night can all sabotage sleep continuity. And yes, that innocent cup of tea at 8 o'clock can matter more than people think. You won't believe how often one small habit is part of a much bigger problem. Mistake number 3 is sending the brain the wrong light signals. Bright screens late at night, television in bed, overhead lights blasting at 10 p.m., and too little daylight in the morning confuse the body clock. The brain needs strong contrast between day and night, sunlight and movement during the day, darkness and calm at night. When that contrast disappears, sleep timing often gets sloppy. Mistake number 4 is normalizing dangerous clues, loud snoring, gasping, waking with headaches, falling asleep during the day, needing to prop yourself up to breathe more easily, getting up over and over, and never feeling rested. These are not personality traits. These are not signs you are weak. These may be signals that the sleep problem is bigger than routine sleep tips can solve. And mistake number 5, the biggest one, is waiting too long to take it seriously. People wait because they think it is normal. They wait because they feel embarrassed. They wait because they do not want another diagnosis. They wait because they think nothing can be done. But that delay is exactly what allows broken sleep to keep draining energy, worsening symptoms, and eroding confidence year after year. So what should you do instead? Start with rhythm. Go to bed at about the same time. Wake up at about the same time. Do not let weekends become a different time zone. The body loves regularity, and after 65, regularity becomes even more important because the internal clock is easier to disrupt and slower to recover. Next, protect the hour before bed like it matters, because it does. Dim the lights. Turn off the screen, or at least move it farther away from your face and your eyes. Keep the bedroom cool, quiet, and comfortable. Let your body get the message that the day is ending. The nighttime repair crew needs a proper handoff. Then strengthen the day. Get outside in the morning if you can. Walk. Move your muscles. Let bright natural light hit your eyes early in the day. Eat meals on a consistent schedule. Give your circadian rhythm anchors it can trust. Better nights often begin with smarter mornings. Now here is a small tool with a huge payoff, a sleep diary. For 2 weeks, write down when you went to bed, when you woke up, how many times you woke, whether you napped, whether you had caffeine or alcohol, and how rested you felt. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but simple reveals patterns, and patterns reveal problems. Maybe your longest wake-up happens on the nights you drink wine. Maybe your worst sleep follows a long nap after lunch. Maybe you always feel terrible after waking at 3 a.m. and then dozing in and out until 7. Maybe your spouse notices your loudest snoring happens when you sleep on your back. This is what I mean by turning vague frustration into useful evidence. Remember when I mentioned 3 hidden causes? This is where that callback matters. A diary does not diagnose everything, but it can point you toward the right conversation. It helps you see whether this looks more like insomnia, more like sleep apnea, more like a schedule problem, or more like another medical issue interrupting the night. Clarity is powerful, and if chronic insomnia is the problem, one of the most effective approaches is not simply a pill. It is cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, often called CBT-I. That means learning how to change the thoughts and habits that keep insomnia alive. It sounds modest. It is not. For many people, it is the difference between fighting the night and retraining it. When should you talk to a clinician? If it takes more than 30 minutes to fall asleep most nights, if you wake repeatedly and struggle to return to sleep, if you wake too early and cannot drift back off, if you feel sleepy during the day, if your mood is sliding, if your memory feels worse, or if someone notices snoring, choking, or breathing pauses, it is time. And please hear this part clearly. Better sleep habits support health, but they do not replace medical care for diabetes, heart disease, depression, chronic pain, dementia, or any other serious condition. Sleep is part of the foundation, not the whole house. But a weak foundation can make every room above it shakier. That is why sleep deserves respect. So let me bring this home in the simplest possible way. The sleep change after 65 that accelerates disease is not just fewer hours. It is lighter, more fragmented, less restorative sleep that leaves the body under-repaired. It is the loss of deep, continuous sleep that steadies blood sugar, supports memory, protects mood, helps balance, and gives the heart and brain a better chance to recover. And here is the final twist, the one I want you to remember tonight. Many seniors are not actually losing the battle to age. They are losing the battle to untreated sleep disruption that has been mislabeled as age. That should give you hope, because what has been misread can be re-examined, and what is re-examined can sometimes be improved. So ask yourself one honest question before your head hits the pillow tonight. Am I truly sleeping, or am I mostly spending time in bed? If this video described you, tell me in the comments what happens most often. Do you wake around 2 or 3 in the morning? Feel exhausted after a full night? Or has someone told you that you snore, gasp, or stop breathing? And if you want more videos that break down the hidden biology of aging in plain English, subscribe and stay with me. We are going to keep talking about the things that quietly steal strength after 60, and more importantly, what you can do about them. Your next decade matters too much to hand over to broken sleep.